Part 3. The Christ Antakarana. Cleaning up the radiation caused by the failure at Fukushima and the releasing of the elementals trapped and separated from their divine purity. Part 3. The Law of the Circle. Saint Germain, 5th September 2017. Beloved, I am presence, Father, Mother Life. I call upon divine consciousness to help us understand a matter that has prevented us from engaging this radiation cleanup activation sooner. This matter concerns the permission and authorization for the use of correct rightful action for calling the benevolent powers and influential assistance of love and action through the use of higher technologies associated with what we term spaceships. In short, can we call forth our beloved light brothers and sisters from other star systems, root races, and other physical realities and higher dimensions who use such spacecraft, such as those from Arcturus, the Pleiades, Sirius, Orion, and many others, or within councils of light such as the Galactic Federation of Light, who have such technologies available to help us? I ask this from the influence of perspectives of that which is A. Based in pure divine consciousness where no technologies are required, and B. That which can utilize higher technologies where pure consciousness is not the only source potential. In the cleaning up of the radiation outpourings as discussed by Serapis Bey within the last two discourses, we wish to be as effective as possible right from the first invocation. So if this matter could be clarified with ease and grace, we would be ever so grateful. Bless you. Thank you. Peter. Saint Germain. Beloved brothers and sisters, I am Saint Germain and come this day to provide the necessary clarity that you have requested. This is such a diverse subject and one that could take a lot of time to grasp the full content of what it is that you are asking. What is taking place upon the planet as we speak? The activations of nuclear weapons by North Korea, the earthquake as a result, the hurricanes in Texas, the flooding and fires all over the world are all part of the same issue of cleansing and bringing back into balance by the elementals. The communication by Metatron through Tiburon of magnetic service called the winds and waters of change, understanding disasters, just a few days ago addresses these things, and I would highly recommend everyone reading this to read it, for it has a wealth of information within it that shall complement what I am going to tell you. This excerpt from Metatron says, to no small degree, the increasing polarity and resulting outbursts of violence have influenced the longevity and intensity of the recent hurricane and flooding experienced in the United States. Do not think it is a punishment specific to a localized region. It is not a punishment, rather an opportunity to raise awareness and change priorities. Nor is it truly regional. It is a global event in the sense of the worldwide focal attention given by the media. What has taken place in the face and aftermath of the disastrous flooding has provided a unique and optimal opportunity for change. It serves as an awakening, a unifying desire for man to assist fellow man. If the quality of life that is considered spiritually and biologically necessary fails, then adjustments must occur. Social, political problems can indeed be modified, reshaped, and reformed by a natural disaster if political means fail. End excerpt. The hurricanes and the floods have all assisted, and the diversification of what was potentially heading for a huge confrontation between two nations that could have drawn into greater conflict, with results proving to be far more devastating than the hurricanes and floods. You see, dear souls, when one matter fails, then another has to be designed and created to bring about the greatest possible balance. Remember, the New World servers are sitting on the knife edge of potentials, and one day, one diversification of direction, one lapse of reason, manifests another consequence that will have its own situation or circumstance to reflect back unto the manifestors. No one is exempt. And so when a body of world servers move into positions through guidance and direction by their I Am presence and the higher dimensions, and for whatever reason are unable to follow through, it is most unfortunate. This element of free will continues to rule all aspects of human development, and the sooner this can be diffused, the greater the work can be achieved. It is our greatest desire for all those moving into positions of greater authority to be able to act in unison with the cosmic laws now available to them. There has arrived situations and circumstances that need immediate love and action through instantaneous benevolent engagements to minimize the continued interference responses of those with lesser resonances and light quotients. All present-day imbalances are pushing every possible dynamic of human emotional reaction to the maximum limits of both endurance and understanding. And although what I will share relates to every possible outpouring of human miscreation, misbelief, and misperception, I will attempt to converge my delivery towards this specific request, towards the radioactive cleanups around the world that beloved Serapis Bey gave a high priority permission to engage. Beloved Serapis Bey and the Brotherhood of Luxor, individually and collectively, with the full God understanding of and in reverence for the ascension flame in their selfless service to this earth and its people, act by tireless devotion to it. Thus, hold the door wide open for the earth and all its evolutions to one day ascend to their source, from whence they came, thus completely and eternally fulfilling God's great divine plan. The law of the circle governs all manifested life, from the smallest molecule to the Godhead itself. Every expression of life is endowed with a certain amount of energy according to its needs and development, and is therefore given an opportunity for better living with each indrawn breath. It may not be generally understood by the majority of mankind that they, as self-conscious expressions of life, are helped through the responsible action of cosmic law for every particle of this precious energy drawn from the heart of the Godhead. Nor do they understand that this energy is charged with divine edict, with absolute obedience to man's will and command. This is the highest expression of God's love and generosity to his children. But it matters not the frequency of the vibrational resonance of the consciousness that sends it forth, positive or negative, creative or destructive. It shall follow the will and command with force and power according to its emotional content and projection. This light energy is a channel over which vibrations travel. The distance it covers depends upon the intensity with which it is projected. But both on its outward and homeward journey, it obeys the law of this circle. And while it is absent from the aura of the individual who is responsible for its projection, it attracts to itself vibrations corresponding to its own rate, so that by the time it completes its circle and returns home, it is accompanied by a multiplied intensity of the same quality of thought and feeling vibrations with which it started. There is never a mix-up in the return of anyone's energy. Each returning wave knows unerringly its own generator. The cosmic law is exact. The moment the returning energy touches the aura of its projector, it settles down, as it were, and begins to germinate seeds which produce a harvest according to their nature. If the outgoing energy was harmonious and kind, the return to the individual, group, community, or world nation will be peace and plenty. If the thoughts sent out were of a discordant, threatening, or harmful nature, then the harvest to the individual will be correspondingly astringent. Jesus made no idle statement when he said, "As ye sow, so shall ye reap." Using the radiation outpourings and the use of atomic weaponry as an example of present-day actions, as North Korea is and the USA are demonstrating in both projections and actions, are heading for such consequences one can only imagine if one looks at the effects of nature as it brings that which is out of balance back into balance. That is, unless there are sufficiently high-level resonant and light quotient souls who can do this rebalancing without any negative or destructive manifestations. The law of retribution, the law of cause and effect, and the law of the circle are synonymous and refer to the same aspect of the cosmic law. While it has worked unerringly in its consequences in the experiences of mankind, they would be far wiser and safer to live within the law of harmony, until the love element which has developed to a point where they want to abide by love rather than by law. Jesus said, "Moses brought you the law, I bring you love." Think about this statement very carefully, dear souls, because it is this statement that actually separates your context within the question asked above. This high mental Buddhic faculty and the high heart Christed faculty, as it is defined within the Elemental Grace Alliance, is what is creating your concerns between use or non-use of technologies in this cleaning up process. Under the new dispensation, mankind's attention is again being turned to the Christ within his or her own heart to come forth. Each Christ is being told to raise their eyes to the perfection of their own Adam/Lilith Cadman root race image, who are created in the similitude of God's image and likeness, and is being taught the power of correct and accurate invocation by which he or she may call to his or her eternal Father to restore their own eternal divine memory and to reveal to them the glory which they had with themselves in the beginning, before the world was. It is to reveal to each one their God powers to change him/herself and the world around them back to its divine, pristine, and precious state of perfection through divine manifestation. But you see, dear hearts, you remain in this twisting and turning, pushing and pulling, magnetism and repulsion, attraction and rejection impulses that create confusion as to whether you are working with the high mental mind or the high loving heart as to your divine manifestations. While one continues to be confused by their own divine path to ascension, confusion can only remain, carrying with it less than perfect manifestations. Oh, that wonderful law of the circle. The outgoing energy passing through the sacred fire of the ascension flame of beloved Serapis Bey, taking on the qualities of your various bodies through the centuries that have been, and now, by the magnetic pull of your own Holy Christ self, you're being called home, not to lash or punish or discourage you, but because through the doors of your own high heart, that is its Father, Mother, life energy, which shall set you free. From your heart it came, and through your heart let it pass back into the divine consciousness of the universal equilibrium. You are now learning not to invoke those energies that create confusion or injure any form of life. You are learning how to become harmless. However, those previously misqualified and qualified energies must yet return home. It is the law of your life. Here is a comforting thought. You can stop the rapid returning flow of the misqualified energy through a greater focus on your holy communion with your I Am presence. Call in Serapis Bey and his legions of loving beings, that through the ascension flame you may receive greater awareness, focus, and determination to reach higher states of heart love while stepping beyond the higher mental mind projections. Again, I make reference to the Elemental Grace Alliance definition of the two. After calling such a one, be sure to give him full freedom to leave you when he sees you have all you can absorb at one time. Then, next day, invite him again, and if you persist, you will have many delightful and satisfying surprises in this association. Try it and see for yourselves. Earth hath no sorrow that heaven cannot heal, since all originally came forth from God. And so, following the law of the circle, everything must eventually face and return back to God, there forever to remain in Mother, Father, life, ever expanding in its eternal glory. No disease is ever incurable. What appears to be so today has a cure found for it tomorrow, and soon that particular disease or problem, as the case may be, has been mastered, and its cause and effect obliterated from the screen of life. The same can be said for physical miscreated consciousness, misperceptions, and miscreations. What the ascension flame does for the nature kingdom, it can and will do for you. You will cooperate with it, just as the elemental and nature kingdoms do. Remember, these kingdoms are absolutely obedient to the presence and commands of the resurrection flame, and so experiences the fullness of its victory. In the case of mankind, either as New World servers or not, their refusal to so cooperate through misguided perspectives, or misdirection, or misunderstood instructions, because he/she/they have the use of free will, will always stand in the way of their reception and interpretation of that which would otherwise flow to them so much more precisely, harmoniously, and melodiously, with greater efficacy, usefulness, and beyond any known value to date. Dear souls, you are the resurrection and the life. You stood before the Lord of the world and said, I shall sanctify the circle of my life through love. Let me refer for a moment to your beautiful violet transmuting flame. In the East, we have called it the flame of compassion and mercy. It is of such tremendous existence in the redemption of energy. Continue to forgive and balance your own energies toward life before you use it. The individual or group whose consciousness literally leaps forth at the opportunity to forgive some transgression of the law, and particularly some injustice towards self, is one with the nature and feeling of this flame of compassion and mercy, which so joyously responds to the invitation to consume mankind's mistakes whenever called into action. The feeling within the sacred fire must be generated through the individual's own feeling world to make the two become one. Through the law of the circle, those causes have returned to you which have an accumulated store of similarly misqualified or qualified energy. If the cause was constructive, certain momentums of power for good developed in your causal body. If the cause was destructive, certain weaknesses and momentums of imbalance shall register in your etheric vehicle. If you were to look at a person through your inner sight, through the consciousness of an angel, you would see countless circles of energy pouring out from them, some extending a great distance to the periphery of their aura, and then returning back into their life stream. You would see also some smaller circles, no larger than a ring that you wear on your finger. These circles of energy are what we look at when we endeavor to secure the offices of a world server for a world movement. The amount of dynamic power that you have naturally developed, depending upon your ray, determines the size of each of these circles of force, which are energy lines going out into the universe. These must then return to the one who sent them forth, to be redeemed by him/her, either through suffering or transmutation. If I may now reflect once more upon the second coming of the Christed ones, these are the souls whose circles of life have been built with precision, dedication, commitment, and absolute obedience to their work and connection to their I Am presence, their sponsors, and divine consciousness. Any dispensation given to anyone or any group that aligns them to greater levels of vibrational frequencies and light quotients hold more extensive responsibilities to respond to any extraordinary release of instruction for more direct service to the greater whole. In closing, I say to you, as the question implies the use of interactions through those of the Galactic Federation, we would highly encourage you to use their services for two reasons. Number one, because you have not yet arrived at the potential of utilizing your own full powers of cognitive heart knowing or the understanding and use of the cosmic laws in full. Number two, because these dear souls have the technologies available to quickly and effectively achieve what you may at present be unable to use due to your present diameters of energetic circle influences. The Galactic Federation and those who are aligned to it are highly evolved beings of light, and if one goes through the correct channels to them, they will, just as the law of the circle works in divine consciousness, they too will respond with direct, effective, and efficient results. These beloved ones have technologies at their disposal that we highly approve of for the use to assist in the cleaning up of the planet through you. However, in saying all of this, these are interim measures only, and we would advocate that each one of you continue to work upon your vibrational frequencies and light quotients so that such technologies will no longer be required within this ascension program for human life here on planet Earth. This is a time, dear hearts, to really come to terms with your higher work and know how it is unfolding at every turn, but none more so than your own direct link to divine consciousness yourself. I am Saint Germain at your service. Call upon us anytime. In you we trust.